up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, it's too late to try to go contain it. A generation fueled by creation. We live lives on a small screen nation. We control the airwaves, no negotiation. I refuse to think we need saving. Something good will come from creation. And when we think that the world is too anxious, we'll adapt, evolve, survive, and save it. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, oh yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong.
Oh, look at me. I'm retarded. I'm a globe.
The whole system is designed to disconnect you from your intuition. Why? Disconnected people are easy to manipulate. Everything from sunscreen to politics to the food industry. It's all designed to disconnect and manipulate you. We are in the middle of a war right now, but it's not a traditional war. It's a war on consciousness. It's a war on freedom. This is the time to listen, not to the news. No, your intuition, your gut, your heart. Love is the greatest weapon against darkness. How do you love more? You begin by loving yourself. How do you love yourself? You listen to the messages your body is telling you.
I'm scared, Dad.
Do you trust me, son?
Yes.
Come on, son. Rule number 1, never trust anybody.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Sovereign Soul Unchained Mind, coming to you 251 miles above your imagination from the International Fake Station. I'm up here with my good friend and co-pilot, Something Wong. We're here to make sure that we're going to fly straight and level in this little IT nightmare we like to call the Imagination Station. Wow. So I've got some people backstage. I've got Ryan with Burn the Corporate Fiction is here. We're going to kind of talk about these wildfires, the WEF's plan for your destruction, and all kinds of wonderful shit to make your butthole crawl right up into the back of your throat. No, it shouldn't, because we all know it's a big game, don't we, folks? We just know how to play it better. No. All right. So who do I got out here in my chat already tonight? My God, Chicago Cubby Bears here, Saddle Bomb, Marcy Chan, Jehovah's lovely daughter Barbara's here with us as always. RF is killing us softly. That's true. Subi Ratio, Fozzie Foster with us as well. Chilling, Victoria Salt. Good to see you all tonight. GT Mustang, 1982. All right. Good to see you too. David, Anson Howard, my minimalist from across the pond. Good friend. Good to have him on the show tonight. And who else do we got? Kundalini King. I think I saw King Nico in here. Sorry about the confusion on the time. That was my bad. I clicked a bad box. Blame it on blurry vision, bad glasses, whatever the fuck. I fucked up. Okay. So we're here, and that's what's important. So without bringing any further on, I'm going to bring Ryan on up. What's happening tonight, Ryan?
Hey, what's going on, man? How's everybody doing? How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing fantastic. Listen, I've been binge watching the series Designated Survivor. Have you ever seen it?
I have not. No.
Okay, it's from back in 2016. And basically what it is, you know, when they give a State of the Union address, they pick a cabinet member to be in a non-disclosed location in case something happens, like, you know, mass casualty event or something happens to wipe out the whole chain of command. There's somebody to assume the executive office. And they get this guy, he's from the housing and urban development, and he's the guy that's scheduled to be that. And boom, they blow up the Capitol building, and it's Kiefer Sutherland, and he's suddenly thrust into the role of the president. Well, the other night I was watching through it, and they had this thing about some kind of a really bad disease that was hitting and causing people to get sick, and they didn't have any way to fight it or anything. And then they get wind of this experimental vaccine that they can use, but you need to use emergency authorization and using that militarization clause and all that shit. Dude, they did it. And this was filmed like back in 2017.
No, I haven't heard of that.
So then tonight, the one I was watching just now before I came on, they had astronauts stranded up on the fucking space station.
Imagine that, right? Yeah, good thing they packed their Christmas decorations and hats and stuff, right, for a few-day trip back in the middle of the summer.
We just happen to have 2 extra Santa hats for these guys that are stranded up here with us, you know.
No, it came on a SpaceX supply drop. Remember, that's how they got it.
Is that what happened?
But then the gravity turned on with the tops of the hats compared to how it used to be back in the day. In the 90s, when they had the Christmas hats, it was straight up, you know, flip, you know, because of the no gravity up there. But not now. It's flaccid, floppy Santa hats. So I'm surprised they let you set the stream up for 8:35, because usually with StreamYard, it's like, because you set it up after 9, right? And then it usually tells you can't set it.
I was setting it up at 8:30. That's when I came in and set it up. And I must have mistakenly thought it said 9:35 and it said 8:35. The Rumble one, I believe, started up okay on the right time. Let me double check with that. It should be going all right. It says I got 7 people watching. So let's see, is there? Yeah, we're on there too.
Hey, Brad and Sasha, everybody's saying they're glad to see my face. You know, maybe I like to stream in my pajamas ordinarily. I don't want to have the camera on, you know. Just want to let you guys know I'm a real person, you know, not
a robot penguin. You know,
right? Not a robot penguin. No, kind of dressed like a father right now. Actually, didn't realize it.
This is the thing you told me where they did my heart will go on or whatever from the Titanic. Is that the one you just sent?
Oh yeah, isn't that funny as hell?
Yeah.
A little levity. It's hilarious.
It is. And what is so crazy, they can't make it any more obvious that this shit is deliberate.
Well,
they really can't. I mean, it's just so goddamn obvious. Did you see Newsom, where he was running from that lady to not have to talk to her? And he's like saying, yeah, I'm on the phone with the president now. And she's like, can we hear it? And he's like, well, actually, there's no cell service. That's why I've been running around trying to get cell service so I can talk to the president. It's just like, shut up. You're making
I did not see that. Dude's a grade A piece of shit, though. That's for sure.
He is. Yeah. He almost puts me in mind of that character that from American Psycho that Christian Bale played. You remember that?
Yes.
It's like every time I see him like that, I can see him in that role, you know, like that's all he cares about is his hair gel and his image and, you know, just slick talk and shit, you know.
He's like a used car salesman. He's the guy that sells you a lemon. You know what I mean? Yeah, it runs great. And you pull it out of the dealership and it breaks down on the road in front of the dealership and you have no refunds. Right.
Well, I'll go ahead and I'm going to show this thing that you sent me because I had it in my retweets because I thought it was funny too. I thought it was great. But yeah, I don't know who the hell put this together, but it's pretty cool. Hey, yeah, it's right there. All right. How did I get that in the right window? That's crazy. I was on YouTube before, wasn't I? Did I change that? I must have. Okay, never mind. Whew.
No sound.
What's up?
No sound. You had that on your with the first video you played as well. There was no sound. I was trying to tell you I was going like this backstage.
Oh no, hold on a second here. That can't be. Why is that? Let me just undo. Stop screen completely. Present screen. Share screen. How about now? Was that fireman? Was that Justin Bieber?
It looked a little like him. I'm not sure though.
Oh my god!
But that one weirdo in the BDSM getup, that was Zelensky. I'm pretty sure.
Oh my god!
The AI gets it almost right. You know what I mean? You can still tell. It's getting good though. It's getting really good.
They are. See, and that's why you got to be careful. And I've said this for a while now, that any video that you can't really trust it 100% because of how good AI is getting and the levels of technographical fuckification that they have with video and TV and shit like that now. That's my term. I copyright that. Technographical fuckification. Okay.
There you go. Yeah. Trademark TM. It's definitely added a layer to my researching that's irritating. Now when I see a video of somebody saying something, I have to go check and see if that's actually a real video, or you know what I mean? Like you can't even trust the articles sometimes because they get tricked by the shit, or they say they do. Anyway.
There's Victoria Salt's here to see us tonight. How you doing, doll?
Hey, what's going on?
Great. What an honor. Thank you.
Yeah, man.
But
let's I'm gonna go through let the rest of this go. You have to stop it so they don't stop the stream, you know. But like I said, I'm not monetized. I don't plan on being monetized, so I don't give a fuck if I get a copyright strike. I mean, that cracks me up. I get emails from YouTube say video cannot be monetized. I'm like, well, that means you're not making nothing off it either. So fuck you. You know, at least Rumble pays me, so eat me. You know.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm like that, man. Too. You know, I just like I'll go ahead and take the pain as long as I'm fucking you too. You know, that's the way I look at it.
What the hell is that, man?
What's that?
That one of your subs there, the Flocks and Knots. What the hell is that?
Oh yeah, Flock and Knock a luftlessness.
That's a hell of a word right there.
I know. I've not figured it out. I'm gonna have to sit down and phonetically figure that out one day. You know, that's something that bothers me too. Why is phonetics not spelled the way it sounds?
Oh, that's a big one.
You know,
because it's homage to the Phoenicians.
Colombia.
Well, that should be spelled phonetically then too, shouldn't it?
Yeah,
everything should be phonetic.
Fucking F sound. God dang it!
You guys, can I say something here?
Yeah.
I'm teaching my daughter to read, and I'm bilingual. I grew up. My children were born in South America, in Colombia, South America, and I grew up here in the United States. I'm an American, and listen, the phonetics is some bullshit. Phonetics is some bullshit.
In English,
English is really, if you compare it to other, as you guys I'm sure know, most languages are phonetic. And our language is it's all spells.
Look at this word, Victoria. The word rough. ROUGH, right?
Oh,
now
great.
put a TH on the front of it. What's it now? Thruff? No, it's through. Why? Why?
Why is Colombia with O's and U's? And why is the Colombian expedition and why is the Colombian World Fair in Chicago?
Ryan, you want to tackle this one?
Well, Columbia is an ancient Roman goddess, and Column itself means dove, and it essentially goes back to the old the Column family, which is one of the ancient bloodlines over in Italy. It's kind of a long story. It'll take us way off
amazing
track. Yeah.
Okay, what about have you I the other day I looked up
Columbus,
Coloumb.
Right. So Columbus. Yeah. So Columbus was part of the Column family. That's why he was chosen to, sail to quote unquote India. I don't think they ever were sailing to India. They knew exactly where the hell they were going the whole time. But this the family itself is one of the most powerful families in the world. They own Visa. The word literally means dove, and that's why Visa has the doves on the bottom of the card. That's their like family thing. It's just a little side note, but
so does it have to do with homing pigeons?
Does it have to do with what? I'm sorry.
Homing pigeons, because so in Spanish,
well, no. So it mostly is the goddess. It's the divine feminine. That's what it represents. Is the so like Mary, basically, like the Holy Spirit type thing. It's the basilica, the womb, the torchbearer. So that's why you have the Columbia with the torch. That's Columbia Pictures. It all goes back to it's one archetypal. Like you can go through all the different names and stuff, but it's just one archetypal goddess. It's the divine feminine. That's what they're paying homage to with the Columbia. District of Columbia, the Statue of Liberty, Washington Monument is an obelisk inside of a Vesica Pisces, which shows the generative principles of creation, all that stuff. So that's why they choose almost everything that they choose is because it's a cult that they keep showing you the same generative principles over and over again. Like I mentioned this on New Year's Eve, the lightning struck 3 different places.
Yeah, that was wild.
Yeah, but if you actually put it together, and I said this on my show, it struck the obelisk, which is the phallic symbol, the phallus of Osiris. If anybody knows them, and this republic is the founding of it is steeped heavily in the myth of Osiris, and I've went over that before, not to get too into that, but with the 13 colonies. And then the 14th piece, like how when Set killed his brother Osiris, he cut the body up into 14 pieces and scattered them, right? And when he threw the phallus into the river, an alligator ate it. And so when Isis came down to look for the pieces of her husband's body, she could only find 13. She had to fashion the 14th. She basically made him a new phallus, and then that's how she impregnated herself, and Osiris was reborn as Horus. Well, that's the District of Columbia, and that's what the phallus represents. That's the 14th state, or the 14th, yeah. So just I
just want to add on. I want to ask you, because amazing. I've been on this like the word Columbia thing for 2 years now. And no one has ever stated what you just stated, so thank you. And what about Colombs? Coulomb, right?
Yeah, it's all the same. It's all the same derivation
with electricity, right?
Yeah.
And so, like El Dorado is what Colombia, South America, is like the road of gold and all of that. And I have like a whole thing in my head about this metallization. And all of this going back to the alchemic construction of the metals, which I believe are poisoning us.
Well, we have to keep in mind too that let's put this into perspective and bring it to what we're even talking about tonight too, because I think it does play into it. Let's not forget that this whole area that is on fire right now at one time was part of that whole thing. South America, Mexico, California, that shit right there, all with the Italians and the Spanish, who were pretty much in cahoots. You see this entire whole thing right there, and I think there might be some symbolism behind this entire I mean, it's completely obvious that this is intentional. I mean, it's almost like they're going out of their way to show you that it's intentional, wouldn't you say?
Well, I disagree. I think that they are so used to people being stupid that they're not used to having to try that hard. And now that with the availability of information, and especially now that you have like Rumble and X are entirely uncensored, X is doing major damage to them. You know, because of X, the average people are able to just look at with people like us, you know, being able to post on there. And there's, you know, many people are awake and they're like, hey, did you know that they defunded the fire department by like 14 million last year, right? And then that they gave all their excess fire equipment to the blue and yellow flag country over there, right? Did you know they did that? And now they're sitting there trying to put out fires with purses, and that they didn't rake the forests, and that they're not releasing the waters from the dams in the mountains. And it's intentional. Joe Biden goes over there to commemorate whatever he was doing, commemorate a statue and tell everybody that he's now a great-great-grandfather, which CPS should probably take a look at. Go ahead and get that kid up out of there real quick. But you know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt, right?
That's, all right,
hey, come on now. You gotta admit that the Bidens put the fun in dysfunctional. All right. You definitely they put the FUN in dysfunctional.
That's for sure. They do that. And yeah, he's over there. So they closed down the airspace, won't let any Canada offer to, you know, come bring water bearing aircraft down into California. But he happens to go over there and visit, doesn't even know where he is half the time. And so, you know, his handlers are putting him over there. And then
they shut down the fucking airspace so they couldn't use the firefighting equipment. Oh, and here's the latest one I heard, that there was a bunch of firefighters and shit came down from Oregon or Washington, one of the two, and they stopped them in Sacramento because they didn't have smog stickers on their fucking trucks. They hadn't been tested for smog.
That's ridiculous. That's so fucking bullshit. That's so fucking bullshit.
I mean, it's like, what the hell? Look at this screen right now. You're worried about a fire truck.
This is fucking insane.
Well, I would have to say that the most telling aspect of this that makes it that lets you know that it was planned is the fact that they have a smart city planned in the Palisades for 2028, where they're also going to be holding the Olympics, and that's already been greenlit and everything. So they've got that. But, you know, how are they going to do that when they need to gentrify the area and get rid of the native inhabitants? Like I was talking about yesterday on my show, or the day before, they're not going to replace the people of this area with the people that were living there. That's why they let all the immigrants in. See, these people that are coming from war-torn countries and, you know, communist countries, and but they're just going to be grateful to be here. So they're going to accept whatever type of technocratic dictatorship.
Correct.
Right.
Absolutely.
Plus they have no birthright. They have no birthrights basically in this country, meaning like they couldn't go back and reclaim their estate or any of that stuff if they wanted to. That's why they want to replace us, essentially.
Now, the thing about this is I think that just like in Paradise, I think smart meters have playing a role in this shit. Because I've seen another instance where there was one house with no smart meter in between several other houses that just burnt right to the fucking ground. This one didn't even get touched. And it didn't have a smart meter.
Wow.
Well, I think that they could be using directed, you know, DEW. I don't know what YouTube allows regarding that shit. Or not,
well, could it be okay, this is so, you know, whatever, we can speak openly. Like, as you guys probably know, the 5G towers in every city where there was an outbreak of COVID from December 2019, starting with Wuhan, China, there were more 5G towers turned on in that country, and more 5G towers were installed in 2019 in Wuhan, China than the entire United States, a city of 10 million, right? So in that same pattern, we know happened until April 2020, where every city that had a COVID outbreak was 5G radiation, it looks like, because it's exactly correlated. So is it possible that these fires I have no idea, but it's totally crazy. But is it possible that the towers actually emitted the 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 radiation that caused these fires?
Well, quite possibly. I mean, I think what they've been doing is, first of all, through their weather weapons, their weather modification, they've been keeping California dry for like 20 years now, in perpetual drought. So the whole state's a freaking tinderbox. And then, you know, with their new woke, stunning, and brave fire chief, right, that they have in LA, she went ahead and went along with all these administrative well, they already had a lot of these in place too, where they don't rake the forests and get all the dry brush and debris out of the forests, and they don't cut down dead trees that are near power lines, and they don't do all the preventative things that fire departments generally do. You know, fire departments aren't just fighting fires, they're actually doing preventative work, creating fire stops in states like that. None of that stuff's going on in these commie states like California. It's just not happening. And this is why. And then so all you need is just a little spark from, say, a dew, right, or whatever, and then the whole place goes up like a tinderbox. And then you got immigrants going around. I was showing on my show yesterday, I'm sorry, it's wrong to presume that they are immigrants, but you have people going around chucking entire, you know, like containers of gasoline on the side of the road to feed the fire. Like, this is intentional burning down.
Wow.
California.
Yeah. I saw some shit with that too.
Wow.
Like I might have reposted it too.
Wow.
And then there's one other aspect, if you don't mind me saying that, but like this is not new. They've historically used the same thing going all the way back to Emperor Nero. Emperor Nero burned Rome to
burned down Rome, right,
with the consent of the Senate to expand his empire and be able to take everyone's property under administration. It's with 1660s.
It's all administrative processes, you guys. I worked in the U.S. government for 6 years as a federal contractor, and I was in South America in a third world country, and I came from small business, so it was all bizarre to me to work for the federal government. But I felt, anyway, I was really stupid and bought into the bullshit, thought that people were good.
The empire.
Yes. And I thought, as an American, that maybe we were doing good things in other countries. It didn't matter that Obama was president. I'm a registered independent. I barely voted. I voted for Ron. Who was it? Dave in the 90s, the little guy who ran for president.
Ron Paul.
No, 20 years before him. The little businessman from Texas.
Oh, Ross Perot.
Right. That's like the last time I voted, right?
He was just there to split that vote.
Yeah.
You know, he was there to draw votes away from the Republicans to give it. So, you know, he didn't have
That's true.
Chance in hell.
But they
you never heard shit from him ever again. In fact, I had to sit there and think for a minute. You did too.
Yeah.
Who the fuck was that guy? And that was a big deal. We had 3 candidates.
Remember?
Three major candidates.
Remember? And like, that's the last time I voted. So when I worked for the government, I was like, it doesn't matter. Probably outside of the world, outside of the United States, we're doing good things. I have learned that it's all about the contracting, right?
Yep.
It's the whole thing is about contracting. I was a federal contractor, blah, blah. So, but I would like to present a fireman theory that I have, because I think this is the only space I can present it. If that's okay, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
So September 11th, I was there. I was in New York City. I saw the second tower fall. I didn't realize that it was all Photoshop and CGI until a few years ago. But I was there. I lived on the island. And okay, so that seems like a very fireman organized control. I'm like, my heart is beating really fast saying this out loud. But I really think the fireman thing is a big part of this. And I've seen in my small town.
What do you mean by the fireman thing?
Okay.
Specifically?
Okay, I'm going to tell you specifically. So I live in a small city in Central Florida with 58,000 people. And every time there's a new ass fucking development, right? A new housing development, a new HOA, per certain population, they develop a new, they have in the, incorporated Freemasons signatory system that we live in, that they have to create a new fucking fire department everywhere.
Well, I think that goes by, how much of an area a fire department will cover.
Right. Okay.
Like, for instance, where I live at right now, we don't have a paid fire department.
That's what I grew up with. We had volunteer fire departments.
Yep.
You still have that.
Every so often we get a thing in the mail to donate. People go.
Okay, so they've eliminated my generation has lived the transformation from volunteer fire departments from 2 miles from my house, where I'm sitting on this porch right now, to now all paid fire departments. So that's at least 50,000 each fire. I looked it up, 50,000 each employee. Okay, so that's about 8 guys a week, right? Because they get a 48-hour paycheck for spending the night in a man cave 2 nights a week, right? And I think that the construction of fire departments is perhaps creating a third army in our country. We first have police, then we have a military, and then we have a third local military being developed. That, I mean, look at these fires, you guys. We know about the great fires. I'm sure you guys watch my life.
Despite having the fire departments, they don't have what they need, like water, to fight.
Okay, yeah,
right,
no, I
which
can't.
Is the most important.
Okay, I can't speak. You're right, and I'm not.
So with the fire departments,
in on it.
The thing with public services, they're forced benefits because you're under administration. It's all the stuff I talk about on my channel. They're forced benefits. They supply you with electricity, plumbing, fire department, policy enforcement, which is actually
land, air, water, law
to the revenue. So
land,
they because he or she who accepts the benefit forgoes the inheritance. That's why they provide you with all these services, because that's their way. They have to manage the property that they're administering. You see, You're an infant. You're an infant. Title I, Section 8, under the definition of person, it says the words person, human being, and individual, and any act of Congress mean an infant member of the species Homo sapien at any stage of development. So every time you see the word person, human being, or individual written in any act of Congress, state or federal, because the states conform to the federal USC, you're an infant under administration. So all these benefits are part of their administering your estate. They take it, they pay for it right out of your trust. Mm-hmm. That's how all of this ultimately works.
Let's kind of get back onto the fires.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it has, but I just want to tell her it has nothing to do with necessarily like, I think that the firemen generally are, good people. You know what I mean? Like they're trying, it takes a special.
Oh, I agree. My only point is
that is up above and beyond just municipal fire departments. Now, at the top of the fire departments, they're looking pretty fishy with this DEI bullshit. I've never understood that people hiring over aesthetics over functionality.
Or women, Dave, that can carry a woman. I'm a tall woman. I'm 5'11", like carrying
I'll show you guys.
Carrying people out of a fire.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And in engineering, we had this kind of a little rule, that went along with shit, because you're trying to have functionality at the best cost. All right. So we used to always say that when functionality versus aesthetics, functionality wins hands down.
Amen.
Okay. Because, like I've said, with you could have a really good looking sports car, but under the hood it's a fucking wound up rubber band. It looks good, but it doesn't fucking run worth a shit. You see? And so, Ryan, before I pull your thing up, I'm going to bring this thing up here. This was part of this intentionality thing, and I've got another about where they did it. All right, so we know they canceled people's insurance a few months back. They canceled people's fucking homeowners insurance. About 4 months ago or so, they put in some provisions where there's no new construction along the PCH, the Pacific Coast Highway. And that includes right there with Palisades and all that shit is that's burning down right now. And then we've got this guy. I know nothing. I see nothing. Now listen to what he says about Los Angeles by 2030.
It was the 20th Governance Summit. You will use the app like Uber, but not anymore to call some driver, but automatically guided car, a self-driven car, will come to your hotel or wherever you are and will bring you to the airport. No, Los Angeles is one of the cities with the heaviest traffic, who told me in 2030, Los Angeles will be private car driven free. And this will allow to transform highways into parks and other public spheres. It was the 20th, like Uber.
You see? All right, so that's just part of that. And that's along with these little 15-minute city bullshit that they're wanting to put in and everything. And they did the same thing up in Paradise in Northern California. They've done it here in Los Angeles where this is taking place. There's and don't make any mistake. That's not the only purpose. Okay? These things always are multifaceted. Like, look at all the things that 9/11 brought us. Okay? The NDAA, we got the Patriot Act out of that fucking thing, right? Endless war against an idealism that can be changed by the whim by somebody not you. You know what I'm saying? Feeding the industrial military complex, the monetary system, you know, this whole fucking thing, that's exactly what this was all encapsulated in that one event, plus many, many more. But wait, there's more. But to go through it would be like a whole show. There's so many different facets to it. And so they never do it for just one purpose altogether. It's usually covering several little bases all at once. And I think one of those is, since things have been getting really fucking hot, I think that this is also destruction of evidence.
Mm-hmm.
The Getty burning up. And we've all heard about the tunnels under the Getty, right? I mean,
Well,
I don't know.
It's funny you bring that up because, like, in Lahaina, I call this Lahaina 2.0. That's because that's what it is. Yeah. But in Lahaina, all the wealthy people whose homes, they didn't want to burn down, they had their roofs painted blue. But in this instance, they just wholesale burned them all down. That's unusual.
Let me just say real quick, I was flying into Bogota, Colombia, which I've flown into quite a bit. And as I was flying in 6 months ago, the roofs were blue near the flower factories. So go on, sorry, but totally. And they weren't blue before.
So they painted all the roofs blue down there. Missed Oprah, missed The Rock, missed all these people down in Hawaii. Oprah had invested in real estate deals before the fire even happened. All sorts of stuff, right? Well, here they wholesale burnt everything down, and that doesn't fit their mold. It doesn't jive with what they've been doing, and that. The explanation, I think, a reasonable explanation would be covering up evidence, because they did a lot of that with, there was a school bus went missing and in Lahaina under all the smoke and all that stuff. Like, so same thing, moving all the, the chattel, if you will, somewhere else without getting the channel struck. That would be a good explanation. This right here, what I had pulled up, Dad, is this DEI fire chief chick. But it's funny, you'll notice something in her little biography. I don't know if you guys can read it very well. I'll try to zoom in on it if it no.
That's a woman?
That is
I'm sorry.
Nice.
Yeah, so,
okay.
She is stunning and brave.
I was just surprised.
Okay, stunning and brave. don't need no man's, woman's, right here. And it says creating, supporting, and promoting a culture that values diversity, inclusion, and equity. Think about it. It's always diversity, equity, inclusion. It's just a little tidbit, and it doesn't necessarily mean anything, but they always say DEI. Well, this literally says die. If you were to make that into an acronym, she wants to promote a culture that values diversity, inclusion, and equity, which is actually die. Let's die, right? Yeah. While striving to meet and exceed expectations of the communities are Chief Crowley's priorities, and she's grateful for the opportunity to serve Los Angeles. So her first priority is not fighting fires. Right? This is Marxist communism. The whole thing about Gavin Newsom, the only time he cleaned up a city in California was when Xi Jinping was coming over to see him, to meet him. And what is with that anyways? How is the leader of China just going to fly straight to California and bypass the president and everybody else and go check on his investment interests? You know what I mean? It's very clear. But yeah, this is the stunning and brave fire chief who's doing such a great job over there in California right now. I just thought I'd share that with you.
All right, so let's hear what this douchebag says about this. Right? Here's what he said. He says, here's the blame for the fires. I haven't listened to this yet. You're probably going to piss me off.
Oh, I've heard this one. Yeah, he's a moron. Go ahead.
A lot of people right now are looking to point the blame for who is responsible for these fires, and I am no different. I want to know who the fault belongs to for this city running out of water, even though we literally have fires every year. Every year we have fires. We literally have a fire season, and yet we ran out of water. When I find out who is responsible, let me tell you, they are going to be in big trouble. We do have some initial ideas about who may be to blame. Incoming President Donald Trump is at the top of the list. The guy is literally orange, the same color as the flames.
This is not real.
No, it's not. It's totally not. It's not the clip I thought it was. The actual clip does blame Trump. So he's politicizing this. Like, dude, you commies are intentionally burning your state to the ground.
Okay, so this is just like a parody of that then.
Yeah. Did you see this? Hold on. This, and when I say commies, people might think I'm
climate change is a close runner-up.
Climate change. You know, that's what they fucking said. It was something I saw with Biden was talking about the fire. And then Harris popped in and said, yeah, and started pushing the climate change bullshit. Because he was like, man, it's so weird going through there. Here's a house burned down. All the trees around it are not burned. He says it was really weird. It was almost like a war zone. Like these houses were specifically targeted. And then here he pipes in and starts going, yeah, the climate change is causing that kind of thing to happen and shit. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Come on. No way. What do you got? Let's see.
Does Biden even know where California is?
When I keep saying communist, people might think I'm a McCarthy Red Scare type of guy, but it's actually the case. It's for real.
Yeah.
Like what?
It's right out of the Communist Manifesto, man. Right out of it.
Let me introduce you to Karen Bass. Back in the 1970s, community activist Karen Bass went on at least 15 trips to Cuba, many with a group known as the Venceremos Brigade, a Marxist group started by the Castro regime to subvert American interests, weaken democracies, and spread communism around the world. Founded in 1969, the Venceremos Brigade organized trips to Cuba every year for half a century. They attracted the most radicalized and delusional segments of the American left, including overtly Maoist and pro-Soviet communist groups. In fact, a Los Angeles police investigator who infiltrated the group testified to Congress saying that to be a member of the brigade, you had to be confirmed as a Marxist-Leninist, as a brigadista, and then moving up the ranks to organizer for the Venceremos Brigade. Karen Bass visited Cuba every 6 months. Their mission? To radicalize young, impressionable American leftists in terrorist tactics and guerrilla warfare.
I mean, the woman is a complete idiot. We'll play a clip of her.
She's a Karen commie.
She's an actual communist.
She's the worst kind of
communist. So is Barack Obama. So these people are actual communists. That's what the UN is a communist organization. They want one world communism where they lock up all the property in a 100%. Corporation. See, because corporations have successors. They don't have heirs. It never dies, the corporation. So once they can lock all the private property up into a corporation, we'll never be able to get it out again. And then we only have the right to use it the way that they allow us to use it. And that's where you get the whole fucking It's complete trust indenture administration.
Okay,
I thought Karen's.
There's another scary ass thing I got to show you guys. I showed on my show yesterday. Listen to this crazy bitch, if you don't mind, Dad, of course, but you'll find this interesting if you haven't seen it.
You don't have nothing up.
I got to share it again. My bad. I thought it was still up there. I brought it down. That's my fault.
That's it. Is that from that little avatar, Stephen? That's from Mr. Rogers, isn't it?
Yes, it's King Friday the 13th. I'm King Friday the 13th.
Oh,
I was going to say that Karens are bad enough, but when you got a black Karen commie, that's the worst kind of Karen that I've ever seen.
I don't know. Is she a lesbian too?
Probably.
She probably is. I think she looks
transgender.
She's got it all. That's like they made her in a lab. They made her in a lab or something to be like that. She's worse than Obama.
If you think that's scary, I actually really want you to see this, Dad. This is gonna freak you out. I just came across it the other day, and I was like, "Oh!" I showed it on my show yesterday.
Artificial intelligence has enabled advances in decoding brain activity in ways that we never before thought possible. You've heard a lot about AI over the past few years. Here at Davos, it's been the talk of the hour. But I want to talk about it in a different way, which is the ability to decode brainwave activity. After all, what you think, what you feel, it's all just data.
It's all just
data that in large patterns can be decoded using artificial intelligence. Consider this. The average person thinks thousands of thoughts each day. As a thought takes form, like a math calculation, you're happy, you're tired, you're hungry, you're elated. Neurons are firing in your brain, emitting tiny electrical discharges. As a particular thought takes form, hundreds of...
This isn't the actual one. It's up one. It's going to be this one because it's just a little short cartoon.
It's going to make you see the future and understand.
This is Davos World Economic Forum. Here's all the rich chicken hawks in here.
Be more productive and find love. Let's roll.
You're in the zone. Even you can't believe how productive you've been. Your memo is finished. Your inbox is under control, and you're feeling sharper than you have in a decade. Sensing your joy, your playlist shifts to your favorite song.
In your
sending
mind.
chills up your spine as the music begins to play. You glance at the program running in the background on your computer screen and notice a now familiar sight that appears whenever you're overloaded with pleasure. Your theta brainwave activity decreasing in the temporal regions of your brain. You mentally move the cursor to the left and scroll through your brain data over the past few hours. You can see your stress levels rising as the deadline to finish your memo approached, causing a peak in your beta brainwave activity right before an alert popped up, telling you to take a brain break. But what's that unusual change in your brain activity when you're asleep? It started earlier in the month. You send a text message to your doctor with a mental swipe of your cursor. Could you take a quick look at my brain data? Anything to worry about? Your mind starts to wander to the new colleague on your team, whom you know you shouldn't be daydreaming about, given the policy against intra-office romance. But you can't help fantasizing just a little. But then you start to worry that your boss will notice your amorous feelings when she checks your brain activity and shift your attention back to the present.
So your boss is
You breathe a sigh of relief when the email she sends you later that day congratulates you on your brain metrics from the past quarter, which have earned you another performance bonus. You head home jamming to the music with your work-issued brain-sensing earbuds still in. When you arrive at work the next day, a somber cloud has fallen over the office. Along with emails, text messages, and GPS location data, the government has subpoenaed employees' brainwave data from the past year. They have compelling evidence that one of your coworkers has committed massive wire fraud. Now, they're looking for his co-conspirators. You discover they are looking for synchronized brain activity between your coworker and the people he has been working with. While you know you're innocent of any crime, you've been secretly working with him on a new startup venture. Shaking, you remove your earbuds.
What do you think? Is it a future you're ready for?
No. She says it all excited. Is it a future you're ready for? Look at who she's talking to. You think any of those people are going to be the ones sitting there in front of the computer having their boss read their brain metrics?
Well,
No,
their response. Did you hear their response? They're like, no.
I'm pretty sure that
excited about it, and they were like, no.
That's J.G. Wentworth right there. Look at him. That's Rothschild's brother.
Listen, that's more of this shit. You know why? Because just the other day, I was just walking through the house and shit. This was like a couple of weeks ago, and I hadn't seen a commercial for this or seen an advertisement for nothing. But that little jingle of theirs, right? It's called J.G. Wentworth, 877 cash now, right? Everybody's heard that fucking thing. And I was just singing that out. I put it as part of another song. Next thing I know, I start getting fucking emails and shit from J.G. Wentworth and shit.
Exactly. Look, she's going to tell you that this
Surprised to learn
actually exists.
that it's a future that has already arrived. Everything in that video that you just saw is based on technology that is already here today. Artificial intelligence has enabled advances in decoding brain activity in ways that we never before thought possible.
Yeah, so that's why when you're thinking, they're using it right now. They just don't have your consent to use it against you. But that's
Have
why
you
when
ever
you're
thought
thinking,
of something
like
without even saying it out loud, like thinking of fried chicken, KFC, and the ads pop up? You haven't even said the words. It's coming up on social media, KFC, and it's like, what the hell? They're reading my mind. I was thinking of fried chicken. I was hungry, and it popped up.
Yeah, I've had that happen a few times. I've had that happen a number of times.
I've talked to quite a few people. They've had that happen. So this is happening a lot more. They're reading our thoughts.
Yes, DJ. That's a good reference. That really was. If you've not ever seen that, it was a BBC show that they had. It was like a little short story thing
from the 60s.
Donald Pleasance. Donald Pleasance. He was the guy who played the president in Escape from New York. Anyway, Donald Pleasance is in this, and he gets hired to write the news for the next year or for a certain year in the future. And he's like, well, wait, what do you mean by it? And by the time they've disclosed everything to him, it's like, you either got to take the job or you're going to be killed.
Yeah. And you could play it. I played it on my show. It's not copyright. You can play it here if you wanted to play a clip or the whole thing.
Maybe we'll get into that here, but it's pretty good.
It's worth it.
Yeah, that 15-minute city, the smart city that they want to make, like in Lahaina and LA and all that, that's what they want. They want to be able to read. If you ever even thought about any kind of dissidence, they're going to know. It's 1984 on steroids, not just reading your emotions like it's reading your freaking mind.
It's a freaking horror show is what it is.
So, you remember I said that a lot of this stuff is kind of multifaceted, right? So in this same area that's on fire and burning up right now, okay, what do you think of when I bring up Laurel Canyon?
I think of the bands, the Doors, Mind Control, MK Ultra, them working to influence the masses, all that stuff. Laurel Canyon.
Brian Wilson had a home in Laurel Canyon. And
Jim Morrison of the Doors.
Well, the Manson family. The Manson family moved in with him there and was living there in Laurel Canyon in his house. He finally had to throw them out because they were like helping themselves to everything. And so he threw them out, and then later he moved. Well, then guess who moved into the house afterwards? Sharon Tate and Roman Polanski.
Oh.
This is where Charles Manson came back, with his crew, and they supposedly killed Sharon Tate, Abigail Folger, and who is that? Jay Sebring. And I'm trying to think who the fourth guy was. It slips my mind right off the bat. But in an interesting thing about that, so I've always said that, look, the military, Hollywood, DC, it's all fucking connected, right? So who came in before the police to make sure everything was kind of cleaned up? And then what I mean by that is certain types of films and videos and things that they had in their possession, right? None other than Jack Nicholson.
What? Jack, really?
Yeah.
Wow, Jack Nicholson.
Yeah. All right. So this is an area now. There's also the Laurel Canyon studio. which is a base. Now I'm going to show you a thing about this real quick. Okay.
Yeah, with the propaganda films, right?
Yeah, and who knows what else, right?
And all kinds. Yeah,
they never have it for just one thing,
the
right?
sick stuff, maybe, you know.
So you know that Rothschild that just passed away in the mountains of California in a fire? That it took them 33 minutes to put out? That seems very oddly specific. But were you aware that this happened in a place called Laurel Canyon? Are you familiar with Laurel Canyon? Maybe I can refresh your memory or tell you something new here today that you didn't know. Laurel Canyon was the home of Wonderland Air Force Base. Wonderland Air Force Base had created an entire studio on their acres of property. This studio was not just for recording music, but it was also for making films. This was the propaganda arm of our military. And it's pretty fascinating stuff if you think about it, because not only did they infiltrate the music industry, but they also infiltrated the film industry. And this is pretty well known by most of us at this point, at least I hope so. But what's super interesting is that each of the homes up there, many of them, if not all of them, have tunnels that connect to each other underground. Not just to each other, but all the way down into town, all the way down into nightclubs, fun things like that. There was a huge movement in the 60s when the war was starting out. And a lot of the people at the time, similar to today, wanted nothing to do with it. They were peace-loving people who said, this isn't our fight. I don't want to go to war. And it became a hippie movement. Well, the wonderful Wonderland Air Force Base decided they wanted to put their hand in manipulation into this movement. So they completely manufactured artists such as The Doors, Joni Mitchell, and I could go on. There's so many. But these artists, a lot of them were not even artists to begin with. Some of them had never even touched an instrument in their entire lives. And so they would fly in people into this Air Force Base to make sure that the sound that was coming out of these records was pristine and beautiful, although it wasn't even actually played by the frontmen of these bands. It's pretty fascinating stuff. Apparently they ended these programs after a while. That's what they say anyway. I think they just moved. But Laurel Canyon is also well known for other things too, like Charles Manson and his cult. Here's an interesting connection for you. The guy who ended up buying Wonderland Air Force Base, because now it's decommissioned, is Jared Leto. Yeah, he owns it now. Just think of the things he could produce in that space. And what's interesting is he also seems to have a cult-like following. Yeah. Fascinating stuff. Go down that rabbit hole of the Laurel Canyon. You'll be fascinated, I promise. Houdini even had a house there. In fact, I think you can go on this app and find a video when his house went up for sale or something. Anyway, they toured it, and you could see the lavish gardens, and they even mentioned the tunnels. These things that you call conspiracy theories actually go way further back than you realize. It's not something that just started in the 21st century. It's been going on for a really, really long time. Do yourself a favor and look into Laurel Canyon. I love you.
So
that is pretty interesting, actually.
Yeah, and especially with the tunnels. And we've heard about also the tunnels and where, supposedly under Diddy's house and Tom Hanks and the rest of these clowns.
Like you said, everything they do is multifaceted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, this goes all the way back to the early 1900s with the discovery of tunnels with tiled walls and shit already down there when they started digging to make the subway.
Yeah. I've seen that too. That's true. I wonder if they had baby oil supplies down there, like like Diddy did. maybe some storage for.
They
baby
didn't
oil.
bother. They didn't bother drugging nobody. They just raw
No,
dogged it.
they had it in kegs. They had kegs down there.
Yeah. Grog, kind of like how they used to Shanghai sailors, right? These sailors people would go into a little tavern in Shanghai, and they'd be sitting there at the bar, and they would drug their liquor. And they pass out, they'd wake up, they was on a ship, and they'd be put to work. You either work or we're going to throw you overboard.
What?
That's what
Is that how the term Shanghai came from?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Oh, wow. They drugged the sailors and put them on a ship.
Yeah.
One way to get a crew.
Oh, man. That's crazy.
That's the ultimate draft right there. That's the ultimate drafting.
It's also one way to get killed by your crew, too. Yeah, I mean, you can't get too many of those employees, that's for sure.
Well, they wouldn't have the entire crew.
Yeah, no, I know. That's what I'm saying. You can't steal your whole crew, otherwise they're probably going to kill you.
Whoever the slave guy is that's having to do that got shanghaied is, definitely not going to have the cream of the crop jobs,
No. Absolutely. Probably cleaning up.
You're in charge of the shit buckets. Oh, man.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, yeah, here's that thing I told you about. Here's a video where a house that didn't have a smart meter. This is crazy. Look at this.
So I talked to the owner of this house right here in Pasadena. I talked to the owner. The owner does not have a smart meter on this house, on the front part of his house. There's no smart meter. No smart meter. So the house did not burn. The back house is the part of the house that had the smart meter, and everything in the back of his house is burnt. No smart meter. Smart meter. No smart meter. Nothing. Nothing's burned. Well, the trees, but the house is perfectly fine. But the back house is completely gone, and that's the one with the smart meter.
How obvious is that? That's
the same thing in
something.
paradise. Same thing in paradise.
So what is it? Maybe like a targeting system for whatever directed energy thing they might be using, or maybe the thing itself is some sort of incendiary device that's, because like, for instance, the lithium batteries that we carry around all the time can be, like, your phone can be hacked, and the temperature, like the way it regulates the battery temperature and the phone temperature, can be adjusted. They can turn your phone into a something like that.
They got the way it works. If it sends, it can receive. All right. And what it's doing is it's sending data out. Like, instead of the guy used to come around and read your meter, your electric meter on your house, now this thing, all they have to do is just upload the data from your smart meter. That supposedly saves them the problem of having to have a guy come out to your house and look at your meter every month. So that's how they sold it to everybody. But if it sends, it can receive too. And what can they send to it? An overload? Whatever. Yeah. Through the power lines.
Self-destruct.
I did see some video where there was wires.
I think that's what we have to be aware of.
Well, they were sparking. The shit was going through the electric wires. It was sparking in the trees and shit in the area.
Oh.
But the way it seems to have targeted these houses, I don't know. It's hot. It's a weird fire, man, because it's like I said, there's trees all around that haven't been burnt, but the house is like nothing left of it. Like it was.
And the garbage bins, the plastic bins are just left out there at the road, and they're not melted, or they should be melted to the pavement or the sidewalk. A lot of them are just right there. They're not melted. So what happened with all that?
And the thing that gets me is that now they got looters. They have to evacuate these areas, and then if you forcibly evacuated an area, how is there people getting in there to loot?
Right, because they're being allowed in. That's the whole thing. Yeah. It's an engineered collapse of that. Honestly, I'm not sad to see. I'm sad for the good families and stuff there, but the place is pretty decadent. My wife was telling me, Michelle was telling me, she just seen a thing where Nikki Glazer, the raunchy comedian, she's kind of funny, but kind of really raunchy. She went up during an awards show, and she's like, Hollywood is a godless place. And she literally put them on blast. She's like, so far, since I've been watching everybody come and accept their rewards, we've got like 10 references to their families, 0 references to God at all. You know what I mean? He's like, this place it's Babylon. That's what it is. And you guys should check that out. I mean, that's not verbatim. My wife was telling me about it, but it absolutely. And here's the thing: somebody in the chat asked us why everything smart is so dumb. Well, SMART actually stands for, or allegedly stands for, self-monitoring and reporting technology. It's not actually.
It's not smart, like that.
Yeah. It's a weapon. It's weaponized.
I pulled up a little short 2028 video about what their plans are. If you want to check that out, it's a minute.
Hi, everyone. By now, you've probably already heard about the LA fire. What I want to show you is some things I found this morning that you may not have heard of. First, I want to remind you that for some time, Los Angeles has been part of the C40 Cities Initiative. This is the smart city plan for the entire world. This video from this morning reminded me so much of Lahaina that I decided to do a lot of deep digging.
God.
Yeah, that's rough.
No,
looks
look.
like Mad Max.
Okay, wait a second. That
I wasn't
looks.
at all
Pause
surprised
that for a second.
when I found this.
Yeah.
That looks like a firebombed city, or even like the devastation of Hiroshima. It really does.
Rough.
Look at that.
I'm trying to get a good non-blurry. Yeah, it's pretty rough, dude. Like, damn. It looks like a Mad Max, like post-apocalyptic. It's like the opening scene to a fucking Book of Eli or something.
It looks almost as bad as outside of Detroit in the suburbs.
Almost as
So I
bad.
wasn't
Yeah.
at all surprised.
Yeah,
when
it's
I
pretty
found
bad
this.
there.
All right, wait.
See, it's funny. I just noticed something. It said $1 billion for the high-speed rail. A lot of California has been bitching about that because they passed a spending bill for the high-speed rail for $1 billion and haven't started building it yet. I wondered why. It seems like they were probably waiting for.
Can I ask you? Have you guys seen that meme that shows that the map of the high-speed rail correlates directly with where the fires were?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I have not seen that, but I wouldn't be surprised.
I think I did see that earlier.
Saw that back when the Paradise fires took place.
See, affordable housing, and see what their plan was to have immigrants and all of this stuff, not us. It's called the Great Replacement Migration. I went through it yesterday. It's funny, if you look it up on Google, they say it's a conspiracy theory, but I have the actual UN document that says that they want to replace the Western.
It's real.
Yeah,
It's
the Western
definitely
populations
really
with immigrants and refugees primarily from Muslim countries. So you look over at what's going on in Germany right now. I had a subscriber tell me that they're setting up anti-tip lines, anonymous tip lines for anyone who's making anti-Muslim remarks in Germany. Can you imagine that? My dad was stationed in Germany. Can you imagine the German people telling on each other for making anti-Muslim remarks when the Muslims are going around and dropping grapes everywhere on all the German women? And this is that's the whole thing.
There was a large, at least Turkish and Muslim presence in Frankfurt, like over on like one particular street. Like when you'd go downtown to the Frankfurt Hauptbahnhof, the main train station, there was like, I think it was Münchener Street. It was like one street over, like if you hung a right and then just went up one street, and you could get like euros and all kinds of shit like that, And it was a lot of Turks. Of course, that's where we'd always go to get hash because they always had hash.
There's a Moonshiner Street there. Moonshiner.
Well, look, so that's the whole thing is like all over the rest.
Munchener, which would be Munich.
I was thinking of moonshine. I'm sorry.
They pronounce Munich.
We need to look up that word. We need to look up the word moonshine. We need to look up the word moonshine.
No, München is what the Germans call Munich. They
okay, München.
Right.
Okay. Interesting.
München, Munich, Moon. Maybe there's something to it.
Yeah, there might be.
Just to cap this off real quick, I just wanted to say, like, all around the rest of the world, you have like this dark wave of communism falling down, right? All over. So in England, you have to have a license to access the internet, and they have the same problem Germany does.
What?
Same thing. Yeah.
You really need a license to access the internet?
License to get on
I
the
didn't
internet.
know that. Wow.
Yeah. Yep, they're doing that shit in
Bloody
Australia
hell.
too. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. A license.
The poor Aussies and
Okay.
the Aussies and the Kiwis are like really,
nuts.
like this Agenda 21 bullshit going on with them hard, man.
How do you get the license? Do you have to take a test, or what hoops do you have to jump through?
I'm not 100% sure. I'm pretty sure it's just like an ID, rather, not like.
Oh, I heard you have to get a license for a TV. You have to license every TV in England, I believe.
TV.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's crazy.
And they're doing it. They're using the whole like, oh, well, we don't want your children to be exposed to misinformation, so we need to have IDs. That's how Australia is spending it. And like, so this big wave of communism is coming on. They all made their move just now, like just in the last few months. They just started pulling their masks off, or like say the last year started pulling their masks off. I mean, England is super fucked up right now. They are literally sending people to jail.
Knocking on doors for talking on the internet.
They're arresting people for fucking silent prayer outside of an abortion clinic. Not even on their property. Standing outside on the sidewalk, silently praying, and arrested them for it.
Listen, man, you can't disrespect Moloch, man. You know that.
What, man, it's not a
silent opposition. You get arrested.
Listen, this is the whole thing.
It is so. It's so prevalent. The control through images and logos and by Satan. I mean, it's
a hell realm.
Exactly what you just
You're
said.
right.
It's a Moloch control. I have young children, and I'm homeschooling, and it's all logos and
I have a video on that,
but
signs and symbols.
Visual is so obvious. The symbols, and it's symbols.
Yes,
BAAL, symbolism.
Yeah, it's called it's called sigil magic. Okay.
Yeah. I have a video that's about an hour long showing all the corporate. I have a video that's about an hour long showing all the corporate logos and what they mean. And I made it about a year ago or so. But I wanted to go back to just for a second what Burn the Corporate Fiction was talking about, the Great Replacement.
Please put the link in the chat.
Sure. I'll look it up
in
and
the
I'll
chat,
post
please,
it.
though. Sorry to interrupt.
I'll post it for you. But when you said about the Great Replacement, white Americans are going to be a minority very soon in America.
They thought so. No, hell no.
What?
They thought so. If Kamala, no, that's not going to happen. I do want to correct myself. It's the television. You're right. The television's in England. The internet's in Australia. So that's where you need the ID.
You don't think white Americans with the birth rates are going to be a minority? They're not going. They're going to be under 50% in the next 20 years.
You're not going to like my answer to this, but no, they're not. Tom Holman, like you guys hate to hear it, but Tom Holman is absolutely going to go get all these. He can't wait. He's chomping at the bit. Like now, whatever you guys want to think about that, I honestly believe, and this comes from my understanding of the law, everything that they've been trying to do, government, how we got in this situation. I'm not going to expound on it, but they really, really thought Kamala was going to win. Like, I know my company is geared up. We switched over, like the company I worked over, we switched over the type of compressors that we're using for refrigerants because of the climate change shit that's now about to go down the tubes. And I know that my company would not have made that big of an investment. I work for a $300 million plus a year company that has only 500 employees. So they got a lot of money. This is big time. Make all the open refrigerator displays for Starbucks, stuff like that. Like every Starbucks, we're the only supplier, the only company, the only one in Michigan. They actually solidly committed to this climate change shit. And that's now about to go down the tubes, 100%.
Okay. I want to ask you something. You're in refrigerants. Okay, I have a huge question. Is it true that the major element for cooling is fluoride?
That I would have no idea. I'm not one of the engineers. Yeah.
So, I just looked up on the internet what is the chemical element for cooling, right? And from what I understand, from what you're in what you just stated was okay for climate change, we're changing everything. It's 2025, they're changing everything from what I recall. And if I'm wrong, I'm sorry. But it was a hydrofluorocarbon, it was a hydrofluorochloride before in 2021, and that's Freon. And now it's called a hydrofluoride carbon. But at the end of the day, you guys, I don't know. It is totally theoretical and just a crazy ass idea, but concept. But it seems to me that fluoride is what actually is the cooling element, and fluoride is a neurotoxin. So is it possible that along with all these other facets that are killing us, that perhaps the fluoride that cools our food and cools our homes? I'm in Florida where everybody's fucking addicted to the absolute correct temperature for their great comfort is actually what's killing them. I feel like we're just on a total walk to suicide.
It's not has anything to do with what the fluoride affects or anything. It's not fluoride in that respect of a derivative of aluminum.
You're right. The fluoride that's in toothpaste.
I don't want to get off on a thing about fluoride.
Okay.
You sure of that?
Sorry.
Yeah, listen. We're talking about these fires.
Okay, sorry.
Right? Okay. That's where we're gonna stay.
Okay.
Within bounds,
Okay,
I mean, we can get on about the chemical makeup of fucking rat farts. It don't matter.
Rat farts.
Anyway,
let's do it, Dave. Let's do it. Yeah, fair.
This is Newsom in response to the looters. Now, I heard somebody in the I read somebody in the chat said something about that they showed black people moving, and they called it that they were looting, and I'm okay. That's not the videos I saw, but anyway. It looked like they were moving to me. It looked like they were hauling ass out of there.
Did not die from the fire. Right.
Well, looting is black people moving. It's the same thing.
Well, yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Sorry.
It's all in the way you word it, It's like, well, the senator didn't lie. He just gave a less than truthful response. Oh, okay. That sounds better. Anyway,
to keep people safe, no looting, zero tolerance for looting. That's why these guys are out here, and I'm very grateful for them, particularly for these critical checkpoints that allow law enforcement to move more mobilely and do the interior work.
See, he's all about just the presence of the image. Watch
Why's
how
that idiot wearing a mask with a 34 microphone?
Well, because it's smoke.
Exactly.
Smoke and shit all over the place. So, yeah, listen, this guy, he's all about the acting. If you look at, watch his hand gestures, his movements. He's practiced this kind of shit.
He's such an actor.
And he doesn't really say shit. He's a soft talker.
Totally.
But listen.
I heard he eats toothpaste.
He might. But just watch how he is. This is all
fluoride.
Toothpaste eater. He's a fluoride eater.
and there's no meat to what he actually says. You see?
To keep people safe, no looting, zero tolerance for looting. That's why these guys are out here, and I'm very grateful for them, particularly for these critical checkpoints that allow law enforcement to move more mobilely and do the interior work.
Keeps directing your attention elsewhere with his hands and his furtive looks and shit like that. That's
good point.
Even though you're not going to look that direction, it draws your attention away from him. You know what I'm saying? That's an art. That's an art.
He's a puppet, that guy. I think he's a puppet.
I think they ought to just do something bad with it.
Wasn't he Pelosi's nephew or something? Right. They're all sick.
They're all
yeah,
bloodline.
listen,
They're all
sick
inbreds. They're all inbred.
bloodline people.
Now, whose incompetence was this? This reservoir is for if there's fires. That's what this is for.
Oh.
And look at this.
This was supposed to be the water to put out the Palisades fire. This is the Santa Ynez Reservoir. It's the water supply basically for the Palisades. When they first started fighting the Palisades fire, they ran out of water extremely quickly. Wednesday, 3 a.m., they were basically out. And there's been a lot of talk on why this happened. So how long has this reservoir been empty for?
Since February of last year. There was no communication from the Department of Water and Power to LAFD that there was a water supply issue.
The firefighters, when they started fighting the fires, no one informed them that the reservoir was empty. This reservoir holds 117 million gallons of water. The fire department was using a water supply from 3 backup tanks, each one only holding 1 million gallons of water. They say it's closed for maintenance to repair the lid that's on top of it. I don't know a lot about reservoir maintenance, but there's literally no construction materials or vehicles anywhere in sight. Also, with a reservoir like this, you can refill it or start to refill it. So another question is, if they saw the Santa Ana winds were coming and we have this remarkably dry wet season, why was there no attempt to start refilling it back up? I know I threw a lot out there, but I think we need some answers, guys. Some real answers here.
All by design.
What do you make of that, Ryan?
This was supposed to be the water to put out.
Oh, there's that thing that slings babies out of you.
Yeah, I think that he's a I think that he's a lying scumbag commie. It's obvious that he intentionally allowed this to happen. You know, they were both over in Africa. Well, of course you do. You know, they were both over in Africa when the shit actually started going down. And Newsom, and then they got their asses back here real quick. And all you have to do is look at why is he not letting the water out of the reservoir? Why would you not do that
by design? It's all by design.
Mm-hmm. And I think it starts back even further planned than that, right up there by where I used to live in the LA Aqueduct. That thing goes a long way down to Los Angeles from the runoff that comes from the Sierra Mountains up through the Owens Valley.
Mm-hmm.
And you go, if you want to read something interesting, look up the water wars of Inyo County. You want to see, hear some stories of some rebels going against the government. And what I found was LA County has so much fucking pull way over in Inyo County where I lived at. Like you got whole areas fenced off and owned by LA County. That's part of LA County inside of a whole other county.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's weird. And the aqueduct that runs through there, that's the water that feeds.
Well, that's
Los
all about
Angeles. So
that's all incorporation. That's what they do. It's all about incorporation. So
they stole the water. You have to understand there was rich farmland. Yeah. There was rich farmland and ranch land right at the foot of the Sierra Mountains, right? And then they come through and they build the aqueduct, which now is taking the runoff water that comes from the Sierra Mountains, and instead of it feeding out into the little local lakes and into the land, it's gone. And so it started drying up, and all these lakes started drying up. They pumped all the water out of it and sent it to Los Angeles.
They're going to be stealing the water from Canada eventually to send it to Los Angeles and Las Vegas, and they'll be stealing the water right out of my glass up here in Canada. They'll be taking my water.
Really?
They want full spectrum dominance, that's for sure.
Out of the Great Lakes? Yeah, out of the Great Lakes region.
Can we talk a little bit about water? You're in California. You got a big long coastline. Coastline. Like 98% of the water on Earth is salt water, and only 2% of the water is fresh water.
Well, that's what they tell us. I don't think people are taking into account primary water. There's a lot of water.
Okay, fair enough. But the primary water is okay. Fair enough.
Right, so
but
we're
we don't have a
told
real measurement
listen,
for that. But
you
let's
got to
just
be careful. Those aren't measurements. Those are calculations. Those are estimates. There ain't no way
Fair
anybody's ever measured how
Okay.
much of any fucking water. I hear that. Listen, I hear this bullshit. I saw something on a Facebook post that said that water was older than the sun. It said water is older than the sun, and I was like, how in the fuck anybody know how old water is? What'd you do? Cut it in half and count the
No,
rings
there's
of
an expiration date on it. You didn't know that?
Jesus.
On water?
I mean, it was just the most ridiculous damn thing. And I'm like, wait a second, people, because it's a science page or something
How
like that.
old is the oldest water drop? Did they say how old the
I don't
oldest
know.
drop
What'd
of
you do?
water is?
Did you carbon date the shit, right? But from what I understand, the reason that they can't use any of the ocean water for this is because it's got the salt in it. It'll destroy the soil. Nothing will grow there.
Well, what about desalination plants, though? Removal of the salt
Oh,
to
they've
use
had
it.
all this time to put that up, and they don't do it.
what
Listen,
about that all Monsanto's products are developed from salt?
well,
all
it's not going to
Monsanto's
put out.
products are developed from salt.
Well, what should we do then? Take the bunch of Monsanto fucking shit and put it on the fire? You know?
No, my point is that I met a guy from Haiti who told me that his grandfather, who died at 119, lived on the land, and that and in Haiti, what they do to fertilize the land is to sprinkle salt over it, and that's what I've been doing. I'm growing a food forest in front of my front yard. And
well, you know that when the
I'm
Romans would conquer and subjugate an area, as punishment, they would go in, like if somebody was a traitor, right? They'd go in and they'd kill the guy, and then they'd salt his land because nothing would grow there again.
Yeah.
So you don't want to be putting salt in the ground.
You're
Well,
right.
that's what we've heard, Dave. But I'm doing it in my yard, so I question everything that's in these books.
But they don't even have a tree left in Haiti. Nothing grows there in Haiti. They don't even have a tree left.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. It does grow.
Oh, it does? Okay.
Yes. Okay.
All right.
So,
Well, anyway,
I just got back from Colombia 5
salt.
days ago where things grow, and they use also they sprinkle salt. Okay, and things grow
let me know how
near
that
salt
goes.
water.
I would never put salt on a plant unless I was going to eat it.
And my trees are
Brondo
growing.
makes things grow.
All right. Well, I wish you luck with that.
And we can go in. Let's go into it because I'm studying the periodic table of
No,
elements.
I don't want to talk about fucking.
We're getting a bit off topic.
You did see what you did see what the name of the show was tonight, right?
Figaro.
Fire. Fuego means fire.
I think
I thought it said. That's what it means. I thought it was Figaro. I started singing when I saw your title. I was like, Figaro.
All right, so this guy put this out today. It's on the endless stream of looters in newly announced evacuation zone in Encino and Palisades Fire. This was yesterday. This went up, and this is, I don't know. Let's see. These are supposedly the looters of this thing. This is bad.
I've seen the same exact people moving around. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, what are they doing?
Prowling, bro.
You know, with all the chaos, now would be a good time to go sport hunting in California.
Yeah, I've heard it is like chaos. Oh yeah.
What do you say?
He's asking like, "What's going on up here?" And I'm like,
No.
"There's a fire, genius."
I like you.
What the fuck do you think's happening?
What do you expect to go? I mean, this is fucking entertaining.
This is sketch right here, and actually, this would be a good spot for a live.
So what do you guys do?
We're journalists.
Journalists?
So yeah, we were gonna go. I guess this is. I don't know.
This Tesla's been up here like 5 times already.
A lot of
There's a
fluoride
fire,
in the water
genius.
there.
Yeah, we knew this was a dead end road.
What are you looking for? Policia! Policia! Cops are on their way. Yeah, the cops are on their way. That's right.
So people are rolling up into these dead end streets and cul-de-sacs.
What are the cops gonna do?
That van was here to steal from somebody, bro.
We're trying to walk out.
The cops probably not even going to show up.
Water in your house down too?
No.
There's a shit ton of looters coming up here, bro.
Watch out with them looters, bro.
Huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're coming around right now. They're non-English speaking folk.
What? Yeah, look at it.
Yeah, what are you doing up here? You ain't getting shit.
We got your flags.
Here's the thing: probably not a single one of them has a gun though, because it's California. So.
Oh, and if they do, it's probably one of the hardest type to shoot. Did you ever see the requirements they gotta have for an
Probably like
AR-15?
Canada.
It's got this fin on the pistol grip that sticks out, so you got to hold your hand almost like that. You can't hold it like that.
What?
It's like, yeah, it's stupid, and you can't have any more than a 5-round magazine.
What?
Yeah,
communism.
dude.
I love it.
I have a little 5-round magazine. I like that for target shoot because you can get down really low prone. You don't have nothing sticking down. You can get at a really low prone position. But other than that, not much else used for it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Doesn't surprise me.
California. It's California.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
People don't realize this is we are actually fighting against communism. We have so McCarthy wasn't crazy, right? They made a whole movie about how Hollywood was infiltrated by the commies in the 50s. It's called Hail Caesar with George Clooney. And they make it like big
General
funny
Patton said that we fought the wrong enemy.
Nice.
You know,
Exactly. We
commies,
need to continue eastward to Russia and take out the Reds. Yeah, absolutely. But here's another thing that most people don't know is that we subsidized and funded communism cannot exist on its own. So our Federal Reserve Bank and our politicians were actually propping up, as well as other European nations, were propping up Russia. We propped up communism. England's responsible for introducing it into China. Most people don't realize that because they bankrupted and destroyed China through the opium wars. Yeah. No, this has been good. This is long time in the making, for sure.
Yeah, because on its own, it just falls apart. It bankrupts automatically. That's the natural course of it.
That's why they need the debt currency system to go worldwide and be permanent. So it's just a constant. Basically, the money, or it's not money. The currency just represents your sweat equity and your future sweat equity. Actually, your future
with
sweat
the
equity.
Rothschild central banks.
Do you guys think that maybe these fucking, we know this whole place is like a den of fucking demons.
Yes.
And a lot of shit has come out where a lot of people have realized what demons exist there and that they're all nesting together like this. Is this just relocation, do you think? Because it ain't going to stop them.
Yeah.
It's just relocation. They're just going to pick a new spot.
They got something planned.
I think they're going to stay in the same spot, and it's going to be the agenda.
I'm talking about these elite fuckers.
Yeah,
because they can't rebuild. They've lost their houses. They can't rebuild.
Oh, those aren't the elite guys. Those are just the puppets.
I'm talking about the creepy fucks that we see in front of the cameras. The creepy fuckers that are having Diddy parties and all practicing this fucking OTO bullshit, right? This crawling shit. It's like, I think they're just relocating because they're not going to rebuild their, oh, fuck, I lost my home. And actually they didn't, they just got something else set up for another place.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think you're right. And actually yesterday I had one of my subscribers say the same thing. It says that it was a cover to move everything out of that area because, everybody knows that it's a big cesspool of, fucked up stuff going on over there.
Well, this is kind of interesting. I think was Mel Gibson. I kind of like his take on shit, but I ain't sold on him. You know, I'm like, he could just as easily be, you know, the controlled opposition for the opposition. You know what I'm saying?
I like him. Yeah.
He seems,
he could be a Jaren.
He seems
You
genuine.
think he could be a Jaren? Mel could be a Jaren.
No.
He's an old school.
He can be a Jaren.
He's an old school Catholic that hates Vatican II. Yeah,
But
he's an
Jaren's
old
the Home
he's an
Depot
old
guy.
school Catholic though. He hates Vatican II. Like Vatican II, you should watch what he says about the Pope and Vatican II, and so he despises the government of the Catholic Church right now.
Yeah,
and so
100%.
I think he's pretty solid, but that's my personal opinion.
But you know, there again, you never can know somebody, and you got to be careful about a perception deception too. And we can't forget that these people are indeed actors. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
But I don't know. There does seem to be a bit of what's genuine. He did get blacklisted, it seems, for calling out the overseers, the Steens and the Bergs and the Leibowitz and whatnot. So, you know, I don't know. Let's hear what he said on this. I think he's like,
well, you know, I know they were messing with the water, letting reserves go for one reason or another. They've been doing that a while. California has a lot of problems that sort of baffle the mind as far as why they do things. And then in the events like this, you sort of look, oh, is it on purpose? Which it's an insane thing to think. But one begins to ponder whether or not there is a purpose in mind. What could it be? You know, do they want the state empty? I don't know.
Yeah, he's trying to say it without saying it exactly. Yeah. All right, I've got a stream starting in 10 minutes. I got to go over the second part of the Magna Carta. Well, not the second part of the Magna Carta, but go over. It's a part 2 to the first one I did. So, thanks for having me on, guys. I'll if I finish up and you're still streaming, which I doubt, I'll pop back over. But I told everybody
I ain't gonna stay on real late. All
right.
Good to see you. Over to yours. We'll see what's going on.
All right, sounds good, guys. Yeah, I'll shoot you a link if you want, just in case.
Sure.
But all right, I will see you later. All right, bye.
All right, man. Have a good one. This is kind of freaky shit, man, because we've had fires here in the mountains, but I've not been. Well, I've been pretty close to them. You know, like when we had one, I guess it's probably been about almost 20 years now. Real bad one where they had to bring in smoke jumpers and shit. And I was working at the lodge up on the mountain, and our restaurant was feeding all the firefighters. So we were working, and these guys were coming in shifts, and man, the smoke smell on these guys. We had Native American smoke jumpers from all over the place, man, from out west had come in to help fight the fires. So it was pretty wild. But check this out. This is pretty crazy.
That looks like a hell realm.
Looks like that's what you would think war zone or hell would look like. Remember that day after?
It literally looks like hell, like on everything on fire. Wow.
Just look at that. That's just fucking. And it's just like these ghostly, glowing skeletons of buildings is like so eerie, you know?
Yeah.
And it's
and
really
all the
weird.
heavy
You know,
smoke.
I recognize some of these areas a little bit, and that we've seen like with these images from the freeway and shit, because I've been to LA a few times and go down to Venice Beach and whatnot. And of course, it wasn't as bad then. It got bad rapidly. worse and worse since like 2017, 2016. It's gotten really fucking bad in the last 10 years. And, you know, I recognize some of these scenes that you see, and it's so wild to see it on fire, you know, like the Hollywood sign, like I used on my thumbnail. I'm like, I've been up there by that Hollywood sign, you know?
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I was in California for a few times, but it was in the early 2000s before 2010. So it was different. There wasn't it wasn't quite the way it is these days, but you don't sound like you're from California. You sound like a Michigander or something to me.
I went out to California. I lived there for a few years, growing weed.
Are you a Michigander?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. I thought I recognized the accent.
Actually, I'm a Michiganian. Michiganders sound like a goose, man. But yeah,
Michigan.
Michigan. Yeah.
I have relatives there. I got relatives in Michigan.
Oh,
outside of Detroit in the suburbs, like out, not, you know,
where at?
Not right in Detroit, Roseville, and some of those places.
All right. Yeah, I know about Roseville.
In those suburbs, but yeah.
Look at this apocalyptic scene.
Oh shit! It's like lava. Wow, look at that. City of Fire.
That's just
that looks apocalyptic. That's just looks like hell to me.
Does.
Hellfire.
Dave, so I'm sure you guys know really well, real quick, the Great Fires of, right? Like everybody knows, you just put the Great Fires of in Google and you can put your neighboring town or your own town. I found in my small towns in Florida, the Great Fire of Auburndale, which is a neighboring municipality here in Polk County. And there was a fire in 1916. You know, like there's these, it really, for me, cements this concept of the reset. And the reset has much to do with fires. And
you got the Great Chicago Fire. You had the Great San Francisco Fire. You had the Chicago Fire.
If you put, but I mean, there's even the Great Fire of Orlando. There's even the Great Fire of Lakeland. I mean,
and
small
usually
towns.
You find out that the cause was some kind of fucking horse shit too, like the Chicago Fire. It was supposed to be
17,000 buildings. 17,000 buildings. Like in an earlier video you showed tonight in the last hour, showed a speed of destruction of building, which is incomprehensible. And additionally, we know that the trees are not even burning. So what?
Well, look at the
earth has not changed. We have the same powers. We have the same powers.
I was trying to finish my point about the Chicago Fire for those people out there that don't know. Maybe the cause of it was supposedly some woman, Mrs. O'Leary, some widow, and her cow kicked over a lantern. But the funny thing is that hers was one of the few buildings that didn't fucking burn. So what's up with that? But listen, this guy asked AI. This guy asking AI, how would you destroy America? Listen to this. This is fucking nuts.
If you were evil and wanted to destroy America, how would you do it?
If I wanted to destroy America, 1, divide society, encourage division across political, racial, and ideological lines, amplifying conflicts that create distrust and weaken national unity. 2, weaken education, gradually lower standards and shift focus away from critical thinking, creating a population that's more easily influenced and less informed. 3, damage public health, promote widespread use of unhealthy foods, chemicals, and pharmaceuticals, leading to chronic illness and dependency. 4, break community bonds, undermine family and community structures by fostering isolation and individualism over collective support. 5. Control the narrative. Limit free speech and censor alternative viewpoints, creating a culture where people fear speaking openly. This would erode resilience, leaving the nation open to influence and control.
Sound familiar?
And that is where we are. And that's what we talk about all the time. Look, you got to be careful. There's always somebody trying to fucking do, whether it be some slick talking fucking pastor coming up with his little disarming bullshit, trying to sell you some crap. You can't sense that. I sensed that right off the bat with our Mr. Duffy character. And I saw him for what the fuck he was right the first time I looked at him. I was like, this guy's as full of shit as a Christmas goose. I mean, you can just, it's like you can sense it, you know?
Education. What about these commie Karens that are teaching the children?
Well, yeah. Well, see, that's what I was saying the other night is that they don't care.
And most of them don't have children. Most of them don't have children.
Yep. Because they're lesbians.
Care if you object, okay? Because it's them they're working on. You got to figure out, an 8-year-old is going to be able to vote in 10 years. 10 years. That's a short span of time.
Yeah.
Okay. So an 8-year-old is going to be voting in 10 years.
Yeah.
A 9-year-old will be voting in 9 years. And you can go through this gradual indoctrination process. Well, how do you keep the parents uninvolved? Well, you got to keep them busy. You got to keep them busy. How are we going to get the women out of the home? Right? Well, we'll just get them upset about not having equal rights. And we'll say that they don't have equal rights, and we'll frame it this way. And consequently, they'll want to go out and be career. And if they do, and they have a family, then they'll have no choice but to give them up to the government for daycare or school. Compulsory education, after school programs, daycare, what have you. And the longer these children are in the hands of your captors, the more they're going to be indoctrinated into the captor's way of thinking. They don't give a shit if you exist. If you not if you exist, of course they don't care if you exist. They don't care if you object. They don't give a fuck. What are you going to do about it? We're doing this by law. They get it all with the lawyers and everything, legalizes everything. And consequently, you can go to the school board and you say, hey, we don't want this. Yeah, but we have these regulations because of federalized schools that we have to do this, that, and the other. And it's just further dumbing down the population, further indoctrinating them into basically a Marxist idealism.
Communists, really. Like the guy earlier that just left, he was talking about communism. When you said they got 10 years from an 8-year-old to voting, right?
Yeah.
If they indoctrinate these kids with gay teachers, the lesbians, the Karens, they're going to think all that's normal. They're going to vote for them when they're 18. They're going to say, well, there's nothing wrong with them. We got to support the gay Karen candidate, and they're going to be voting for them. Because they were raised by these teachers that don't have children that are gays.
Totally.
Right?
But may I just comment on the homeschooling moment right now, if that's okay with you, Dave. It has a little bit to do with what he just stated. I'll be 1 minute. I'm homeschooling in a small town in Central Florida, and it's the second most homeschooling county in the United States. So, real trailblazer women. And yesterday, I was at a homeschooling free play event, and I laid in the sun and I was doing my sun gazing and the kids didn't notice. And I listened to 3 different conversations among children between 13 and 17 years old. And these 3 different conversations openly spoke in a Christian focused homeschooling group about being lesbian. Another group of kids talked about it's okay to have a boyfriend, 4 boys talking. It's okay to have a boyfriend or to have a girlfriend because then you're not cheating because you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend. So you're not cheating on either one.
No.
So this is very, 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 very real. It's very real. We have an oncoming generation of idiots that are obsessed with physical stimulation versus critical thinking. And the good news is that I went to the leader of the group, and it looks, like she was concerned. And there was another mother I talked to. I said, I don't even have my glasses on, and I can't see which children it was. I'm not looking to blame any children. We need to look at what is it that is, and we know what it is, but this is so incredibly serious. That the children are obsessed with the sexual, and
They're
look,
ruining the
I
generation.
remember that. I remember, and it's not like it was perfect when I was a kid. When I was 12, we were shipped from my area, which is more of a redneck area, and I was at a school from kindergarten to 6th grade, small town, and then we were all shipped to a so-called more urban area in a town at that point of 30,000 people, shipped to the other side of town, which was the black side of town, and then suddenly introduced at 11 years old. I was 11 to drugs, to pregnancy, to all the craziness. And my daughter just turned 12.
Degeneracy, right?
And so it is so absolutely real, the indoctrination and the entire focus on the children. And it's and even within the home.
Going
my
after
point is,
I think it's the sexualizing of them too.
They're going after the kids
right off the bat. They want to sexualize these kids and everything. But we are on
demonic.
YouTube. I don't want to get striked.
I mean,
so
look at
But
the
it's
three of us.
demonic. We can say that, right?
We're
It's
older.
demonic. Would you call it demonic, Victoria?
And we're older. All three of us are older. We know what we've been impacted by. We've been impacted by all this bullshit. And for the three of us to break through it and to try to speak
It's
up
way
and all
worse
of
now
that,
with these kids. But it's way worse. It's gotten 20
it is
times
so
worse.
much worse.
It's so bad now. I feel sorry
It's
for
so
kids.
much worse. But it's so bad.
Well, no, you know what the thing is? What the fuck is going wrong with the parents? Okay, there's where the problem's at right there, and it's like, look, you need to grow a pair. You need to tell these fucktards, look, the state has got way too much play in your home. Listen to what this guy handled this well. This was a CPS worker come to somebody's house. People will knuckle under these fucks, and you don't have to do shit with them. That's the reality of it. Listen how this guy handles this.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good. We spoke to a lawyer, so we're going to decline your interview.
Okay. Can you tell me a little bit about why that is?
No,
Okay. I'm a little bit surprised last time you were here. All good.
I don't care. We talked to our lawyer, and unless you have a warrant signed by a judge, and you can't come in.
That's not how we're
Okay, well,
I just was concerned about a little bit of fighting and.
I know, and that's what you said a month ago. And when you said everything was fine, and 2 sheriffs came on 2 separate occasions, I noticed you don't have a sheriff with you again.
Yeah, I know.
So you're supposed to do that. So you're breaking protocol. I know the law. I spoke to a lawyer. I spoke to sheriffs.
Okay, who's your lawyer?
You don't have to know anything that I give you.
Okay.
You don't have to know anything that I say.
I guess I'm just.
Do you have a warrant?
No.
Okay, thank you so much, and have a good day.
Okay.
Wrecked. Hi.
How's it going?
How's it going?
Yeah.
How's it going?
They try to get, and they're going to come up there and then they're going to write some bullshit to make you look as bad as possible, because their whole job is to relocate your kids into a fucking child trafficking. That's exactly what they do, man. These people.
It's demonic.
It is, absolutely.
It's literally demonic. That's what I call it. It really is.
Now, this is interesting. Listen to Biden very carefully here. This is crazy. Listen to it.
It looked to me as I traveled when I was out with you in California, what it reminded me of more of a war scene where you had certain targets that were bombarded, where artillery was just blew them up. With no rhyme or reason. In other words, you'd have this fire going crazy and burning everything down, and 3 houses being fine. Nothing's happening. Or neighborhoods that were still green, and next to a place that, for example, we're just looking at a Secret Service house that was out there. All the vehicles are melted No. Yet the house next door still has green shrubbery on it, and the house is fine. There's only, I think, 4 or 5 houses in that 200. It's in the Pasadena area. But my generic point is, it's almost like it's a battle scene.
But Mr. President, we saw that in South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, and Florida with hurricanes.
Yeah.
This is also the nature of, to your point, this changing climate, these extreme weather.
Kamala to the rescue. Right? She's shutting right down, man. She's shutting right down, started talking about climate change. But that motherfucker noticing shit that we noticed. So if it's as that obvious that senile old bastard can't
or that actor.
I mean, come on, man.
It doesn't even look like his profile. Dave, you and I were alive when he was Joe Biden. Come on. Like, that's not the same guy. Like,
yeah, it's not the same guy. He's changed. They changed him out.
Oh, let's see here. Oh, fuck. This is really bad. Look at this scenery of this is still, oh my God. This is just so amazing to me. I mean, it just blows me the fuck away. It's just.
Holy shit.
Wow.
Yeah, that wind is what's doing it, man. That's a hot fire, too. It looks like.
Wow.
But it doesn't look like. I don't know. It doesn't look like it. It looks like an accelerated fire. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's just.
You think they put accelerants in there in the area?
It seems so fucking bright, you know?
Mm-hmm. It seems otherworldly. Like it doesn't. Yeah. It's crazy. It looks like hellfire to me. It really does look like hell.
Oh my God, it's
not natural. I'll just say that. I mean, I don't buy that it's natural.
What was this really interesting? Worth a look. Oh yeah, the patent on directed energy and shit.
There's more flames coming out of there than Obama's ass after he had Taco Bell.
Oh, this was interesting too. You know what we've said on here about the Trump's assassination in Butler, Pennsylvania. I've said it was a show the whole time, right? And Donald might have slipped up and admitted it. Listen here, this is pretty crazy. Let me put this back up.
With Donald Trump's WWE selection of Vince McMahon's wife for education secretary. Maybe it is all a WWE pony show happening under the Washington's District of Criminals Big Top. Now, I say this because while speaking with Mark William Calloway, also known as World Wrestling Entertainment's Undertaker, about his wildly famous Georgia mugshot photo, Donnie started talking about how much more popular his Butler, Pennsylvania assassination photo is. And while he's talking about it, it sounds like Trump messed up and called the incident an act that he didn't want to make look too perfect.
This picture, I think, is even maybe bigger, right? This picture
it's such a, yeah.
I see myself being shot every single day, no matter when. Now, I just left, I was watching something, and they have this picture on the whole act, you know, the whole thing.
Wait, I'm sorry. What was that?
The whole act, you know, the whole thing.
Where, you know, from the time you get shot with, you know, and I'm following my hand down. And somebody obviously is screaming, "Get down, it's bullets," right? Because otherwise it's almost too perfect because of what you followed it.
Well, yeah. You don't want to make an assassination attempt look too perfect.
Right. But I look at my hand, there's blood all over my hand.
There's blood all over your hand, you say? Like.
This is Brian Young. He has High Impact Flicks on X. He's Here's the Deal and The Disturbing Illusion on YouTube. I've been following him for a number of years now.
That hand? To this day, faithful Trump followers tell me, Brian, just look at the video. Look at the pictures. There's blood all over his hand. There's blood everywhere. My question is, what alternate reality are these people living in?
Otherwise, it's almost too perfect.
Right.
But I look at my hand, there's blood all over my hand. I said, that's either the biggest mosquito in history or I got shot.
You know, Butler's got some big mosquitoes, right?
Butler's, probably does.
Well, turns out Butler doesn't just have big mosquitoes. They've got baller plastic surgeons. I mean, that's only 2 weeks of healing. Was it really all an act that they didn't want to make look too perfect? I don't know. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And remember,
I called it the day it happened.
Fight, fight, fight.
The whole
I
act.
called it
Otherwise,
fake.
it's almost too perfect.
The whole act.
I really did. I called it fake the day it happened.
I did too.
I didn't buy
Donald
it. I didn't buy it.
I did too. And what got me was the guy that supposedly got hit in the head, the firefighter, right?
Mm-hmm.
They went in there to remove the guy. And it was these two, it looked like state police. They had those hats, you know, and they were just like carrying him out like you would take out yard waste or some shit like that.
Hefty
You know?
bags.
Like, wait a minute, you don't know if he's dead. Nobody, you know, this is a crime scene. And here's another thing that got me. Like I said, I've been watching that Designated Survivor. And in one of the scenes, there's an assassination.
And you said that early, Dave. I think you were the only person who said that earlier.
What?
You said that
Oh.
early.
Yeah, there was a lot of
people-
people.
nobody
That were
noticed
there was
that.
a lot of people. There was a lot of people on
The carrying out, like.
Well, the thing, it's
Okay, well, I
that.
was
And
following
then
you, and
there's
I thought
another
that was a
thing,
really,
you know, with the
really valid point.
in this TV show, you know, the Designated Survivor, there was an assassination attempt, and when the shot rang out, people started screaming and running to get away from the scene. Okay, that's something that happens when something like that happens. And I didn't see that with the people in the stands. I didn't see them. They were
Almost
just kind
no
of
reaction.
like going, oh. Nobody screamed, nobody ran or anything else like that. And you know, the whole thing was just really sad. It was sadly done, I think. And it really was. But it worked. I mean, I think that there's enough ignorant ass people out there that can that'll buy into this bullshit. They'll just, you know, okay, sounds good to me. And it's, wait a minute, have you not really run this through the logic mill here? Did you not really look at what's going on? I guess I look at a lot of things with a critical eye because I know there's always somebody trying to fuck my mind up somehow, you know, trying to make me think things that ain't true. And that's just like, no, that seems to be all our stories, that they're always trying to make you believe shit that isn't true. It seems like that's their goal. Even if it's just the littlest thing, they want to make you, you know, believe something that's not true. And that seems to be very important to them. And when you don't do it, they get really angry. When you don't go along with it, you know, it's just like they get really angry. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like I was listening to that demon Brenda tripping out on Ironworks.
Oh.
And she starts going, "You're a liar! You're a liar!" I'm like,
I had
what?
I had to leave that.
I was like, what the fuck did I lie about? Hold on. And it was like, and she's like, well, because we saw him on video. I says, there's no date stamp. There's nowhere to indicate what the date of that video is. Nowhere.
But Dave,
Okay?
that Brenda, like I saw that last night. I think it was last night. Like that,
Yeah.
and I don't catch all this all the time. Brenda is absolutely, it's becoming more clear to me, I believe, is absolutely a CIA construct.
Just a dust,
Like
she's disruptor.
equal to what she's equal to Will Duffy, Dave.
It's not a she,
She's equal
it's
to
a
Will
he.
Duffy.
First
These
off,
people are
it's not a
trained,
she.
whatever.
It's a he.
Agreed.
I'm not playing
Agreed.
pretend.
He fucking fucker,
Easy now.
motherfucker,
Oh, that one.
Easy.
That's a thing.
demon.
Chill
Yeah.
with that.
It's
You know?
it's a
This is
demon.
what they
That's the
do,
thing.
Once in
and
a
they're
while,
trying
they're all
to
right, but
divide our
we don't wanna-
community. And I don't even want to say community community association, I believe, from my work with the U.S. federal government in a deep state agency in a third world country that my father was born in, I believe, and I was a part of it, and I didn't realize I was a part of it until later in 2020, and it all came together for me. This is what they do, is they create these characters, and they're making fun of us all the time. And I mean, all of my friends disappeared at the beginning of COVID. My best friends for many years. And I know now that these are people designed to it's obvious to you. I know, Dave. Wow.
Yeah.
That's something. Wow.
He just got porn bomb. I had to stop sharing the stream because he let a porn bomber on. Hopefully that didn't show up on mine.
I had
I might have to end my stream now.
You might. I wouldn't worry about it too bad. They've done it to me before, but no big shakes. Yeah, that's listen.
It's gone. It's over. It's over.
Why? And why? This is what gets you fucking crazy. This is what
Dave. I want you to. You're doing such good work.
Listen. I love you, girl.
Dave,
but you gotta really stop. Listen to me. You really have to stop interrupting me. You really have to stop interrupting me. Okay, please. I that's one of my pet peeves. Okay. But in any case, all I got to do is go back and clip that out. It's not going to be a big deal. But what makes here's what you got to wonder. Why in the fuck would anybody even have that on their computer? And why would they want to even bother to do something like that? Why? What's the purpose?
Demons. They're demons.
What's the purpose? Because something I said you don't like? What? What is it? You know, it just makes you have to wonder.
Well, they're disgusting demons. That's what I say.
Yeah, absolutely. So whatever. It is what it is. We'll see what happens. Anyway, we'll cut that out. It's not a problem. We can go back and edit that out at the 2 minutes and 2 hour and 6 minute mark. Not a problem. Anyway, I was getting ready to end this thing anyways. Anybody got any last words that they want to leave us with?
Well, thanks for having me on. I'm going to end it here, but good night, everyone. I hope that you stay strong, fighting evil. This is a demonic realm, and I hope that good stands against evil.
Yeah.
Don't let evil win.
You got a camera, James? I see you backstage. You got a camera? Yeah, let's see your face. You see your face. What's up? You one of them sick motherfuckers that wants to try to come on and porn bomb? Is that one? Are you one of those? Yeah, I don't believe you. Where did you come from and how did you find this channel? Put it in the private chat. All right. So anyway, I'm going to cut this out and say goodnight. As we always like to say, don't forget, the Lord loves a working man. Don't trust Whitey, and see your doctor and get rid of him. He'll probably kill you. We'll see you next time on Sovereign Soul, Unchained Mind. Good night, everybody.
Hey, how are you glow-tards doing? Just wanted to check in from how you were doing when you all learned about me, when you were just little wee little ones, and you were too stupid to question anything, and you know, just wanted to check in to make sure you still believed in me. You still believe in me, right? You better still believe in me, because if you don't, I'm gonna call you names. Like, you still live in your mama's basement, and you better not breed. That's okay. I know you still believe in me.